Thank you, Alaskan Corda. Just Alaskan Corda, I concur with my colleague Deputy Jim O'Callaghan, but I was very struck by the contribution of our colleague Deputy Maureen O'Sullivan last night. And again, Minister, we worked with you when you held the Office of Minister for Foreign Affairs and Trade, particularly Deputy Sean Crowe, Deputy Maureen O'Sullivan and myself, in relation to the terrible atrocities that were committed on the 25th, that were committed in May 1974 with the murder and the heinous crimes that were committed, killing 34 people on that day between Dublin and Monaghan. And of course there have been other tragedies as well, and no justice has ever been got, and the families have never got the truth. So again, and I know it's an issue you pursued as Minister for Foreign Affairs and Trade Minister, is the need to continually pursue with the British Government the need for them to respond positively to the requests made unanimously in this House on 3 different occasions in 2008, 2011, 2016, where the Oireachtas sought access to all the papers pertaining to the Dublin Monaghan bombings to an independent, eminent international legal expert. And it's absolutely deplorable that the British Government have continued to ignore the requests of a sovereign parliament, and their behaviour is totally intolerable and unacceptable. That's the way they respond to a sovereign parliament. And of course, Minister, you're familiar as well with the bombing in Belturbet in December 1972, when 2 teenagers, young Paddy Stanley from your own constituency in Clara in County Offaly and Geraldine O'Reilly in Belturbet, were killed on that night as well. And of course, even though people can speculate about who carried out that heinous crime as well, nobody has ever been brought to justice. And these are cases that need to be pursued as vigorously and as strongly as is possible, because some family members will say to me, Brendan, we are all getting older and we want to get the truth in relation to what happened on those nights. We'll never get justice, and there'll never be closure because of the grief that those families still go through. And one other point that Deputy O'Sullivan made was that last week again a number of us met with members of Protestant and Catholic families from Northern Ireland who believe that they are not getting any hearing in relation to the terrible sufferings and the murder of their loved ones as well. And as you know, the Committee on the Implementation of the Good Friday Agreement, we've devoted considerable time to dealing with legacy issues. And I think many of the families, the individuals concerned, they oftentimes think that nobody's listening, that nobody is pushing hard enough to deal with these issues. And we have to give out a message that every possible avenue will be pursued to try to lessen the terrible grief that those people go through on a daily basis. And again, I have tabled questions, Minister, and it's an issue we need to deal with here. Is again, I think we need to reappoint a victims commissioner in our state. We had one with my late colleague and friend, the late former Deputy John P. Wilson, was the first Victims Commissioner in 1998, following the signing of the Good Friday Agreement. And at that time, I think it was Mr. Bloomfield in Northern Ireland. That position is not filled here at the minute. And I think there needs to be a person or an office that families can go to and have confidence in, that they have that appointee to pursue their interests and to work with statutory agencies and with government to try to bring some semblance or some way of trying to get the truth in relation to all of these tragedies. Time goes by, families, siblings, parents, children are all getting older, and they're no nearer the truth. But it's an issue that we have to continue to highlight and work as assiduously as possible to try to achieve some progress. But overall, I welcome this piece of legislation, and I think it's important. Thank you, Alaskan Corla.